Hey guys, welcome back to the Crypto Serious. Let's go ahead and take another look at what's happening with Bitcoin right now. So last week, Bitcoin closed with a really strong weekly candle, a solid green one, no long upper wick at all, which basically means the market was in a pretty strong one-sided uptrend throughout that period. And Bitcoin's highest price last week actually reached around $125,700, breaking above the previous all-time high. Now, heading into this new week, Bitcoin is continuing to push higher again. If we look at the daily chart, we can see multiple consecutive bullish candles. It's been a very strong breakout structure. So in this kind of strong trending market, what we've been doing, as I've mentioned before, is to gradually take partial profits at these key resistance levels. At the current high, I've personally taken profit on about half of my position. The remaining half I'll keep holding toward around $130,000 or even higher. Once we reach that zone, I'll again start taking partial profits on the left side, meaning preemptively at resistance. And if we see any clear rejection or reversal from the top, I'll take more profit on the right side of the move. Now, let's zoom in and look at the smaller time frames. Here's something I want to point out, a reason why we still haven't taken any short positions. If you look at the local lows here, you'll notice they're gradually moving higher and higher, right? And although it kind of looks like there were a few fake breakouts, like you see price going up, down, up again, it keeps recovering. So if you were trying to short every one of those small pullbacks, you'd basically be getting stopped out over and over again. Short, stop loss, short, stop loss, short, stop loss. It's that kind of frustrating pattern where you keep trying to fade the trend and the market just keeps squeezing you. Now, what kind of structure would I personally want to see before considering a short? Let me explain that visually. Then it starts to pull back, maybe forms a small lower high, and then tries to push up again, but fails to make a new high. Then, if we see it roll over and start breaking below the last two local lows, that's when I'd start thinking, okay, maybe the bears are slowly taking control again. That would be the kind of setup where I might open a short position somewhere around here, placing my stop slightly above the most recent swing high. That way, the probability of success is a bit higher, and the risk to reward also makes sense. But right now, I still think the market is in a pretty strong bullish phase. If it starts forming a big consolidation range and comes back down toward around $118,000 or the lower trendline area, I'd rather watch to see if it can hold that level, because that could actually be a spot to add more longs instead of shorting. Now let's talk about Ethereum. If we look at the weekly chart, Ethereum's overall performance has been a bit weaker compared to Bitcoin. I mentioned in my previous videos that it might eventually play some catch-up, right? Last week's weekly candle for Ethereum was also a strong green one, but still sitting below the main trend line. It hadn't broken through yet. And the week before that, there was a pretty long lower wick. Basically, the wick and the body were about the same length, which tells us price strongly rejected lower levels and bounced back. So that was actually quite a bullish recovery candle. And now this week, Ethereum has finally managed to break above that trend line. Let's switch to the daily chart. You can see here, again, a long bullish candle. Today's candle isn't finished yet, so we'll have to wait and see whether it can close above this current level and stay above the breakout zone. At this point, I personally haven't taken any profits yet on Ethereum. The next resistance level I'm watching is around $4,760, and above that, we could very well see it retest or even break its previous all-time high. I still think that's very possible, especially since Bitcoin is continuing its upward move right now. If you look at Ethereum today, it's actually starting to gain momentum again, kind of that delayed strength we expected. Now that it's cleanly above the trend line, that stored-up bullish energy is slowly being released. I'll be watching a few key levels here, the upper resistance levels we just mentioned, and also some lower areas where I might consider adding more long positions if price dips. If Ethereum has another small pullback, I'll be looking for that as an opportunity to add. At this point, I really don't recommend shorting Ethereum, because, compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum started its rally a bit later. It's a lagging mover, right? So shorting now could be pretty dangerous unless we clearly see Bitcoin topping out and rolling over first. Only if Bitcoin forms a confirmed reversal, like a top structure, followed by a strong move down, and Ethereum follows that with its own accelerated drop, only then would I consider looking for short setups. Otherwise, it's a risky move. Overall, Ethereum is still following the same structure we've talked about before: consolidation, fake breakdown, recovery, then rally. You see it here. Broke down, reclaimed, went up. Broke down, reclaimed, went up again. Same pattern here. We bought near the 0.618 retracement, it dipped, then reclaimed that level, and now it's pushing higher again. If we look at the last few times this happened, after each breakdown and reclaim, price not only broke the previous high but extended even further. So this time, if it plays out the same way, Ethereum still has a lot of upside room to go. So for now, our plan is pretty much to keep taking partial profits on the way up, and if price pulls back later, take right side profits as confirmation.